Alright, today I'm going to talk about this YouTuber named DBDR. You guys should definitely look him up. He's actually pretty funny. But he's part of this community that you'd call the black pill community, where he basically thinks that his life is just terrible. As he says, his life is over and it can't ever get any better. And, that's not a very good mindset to have, obviously. But in my opinion, he actually hits on a bunch of stuff in his videos, a bunch of problems that young people are facing. I've experienced some of them. I definitely have some friends that have experienced a lot of the same problems as this guy, DBDR. And one of the things he talks about a lot is he's not interested in anything. He doesn't have any hobbies. He just, he doesn't know what he's going to do with his life. And that's actually a very common problem. As you guys probably know, if you have friends, or you probably experienced it if you went to college and you weren't sure what to major in or whatever. And the thing is, adults or, figures that you normally would take advice from when you're younger, a lot of times they'll tell you, oh, you'll figure it out. And, that's true. You probably will figure it out, but that's actually something you should figure out pretty soon. You should figure out what you want to do before you start spending money going to college. I got kind of lucky in that regard because from about 7th grade, I just decided I wanted to be a musician. That's what I knew. I just knew for a fact nothing else was a possibility. So it made it easy for me when I got to college. I'm studying music. I never really changed my mind about anything. I know I had doubts. Sometimes I would have doubts. Everybody has doubts sometimes. And in my mind, I'd be like, oh, should I do something that's going to guarantee me money? And I just, didn't let that creep into the forefront of my brain. And I just stuck with the thing I was determined to do ever since I was a kid. And I did have a lot of classmates that, they didn't know what major they were going to do. They would take some classes from a certain major and then, I don't like that, take more classes from another major. I met people that took like 5 or 6 years to get their bachelor's degree. And that just sets you up so terribly, unless you're getting school for free, which most people aren't. If you're taking out loans, you kind of know what you need to do. So that's actually some pretty bad advice you get when you're a kid, is you'll figure it out. I mean, when you're a kid, it's fine. But before you go to college, you should probably have that figured out. You should know what you're good at. You should know what you want to do. Otherwise, you're just going to come out with a bunch of debt, and that sucks. You're basically shooting yourself in the foot. So, yeah, DBDR talks about that in his videos, but he has a lot bleaker of an outlook than I do. I just think, know what you're going to do before you go to college, and, you'll be good. Another thing this guy DBDR touches on is he calls himself a subhuman, which I guess is the way he describes it. He's a sub 5, which means basically on a scale from 1 to 10, or maybe 0 to 10, he's less than 5 looks wise. And I don't know. Thinking about yourself that way is just extremely bad for your mental health. But I can kind of relate to that. When I was in elementary school, when I was a little kid, I had braces, if you can't tell. But before I got braces, I basically had just the worst teeth ever. Like, I couldn't eat right. I had to shove food into the sides of my mouth because I couldn't bite with my front teeth because all my teeth were so crooked. It was terrible. And I don't recall if that made a difference in the way people interacted with me, because I had friends when I was in elementary school. So, yeah, I don't really remember my crooked teeth. I was also kind of fat, but I don't remember those two things negatively impacting my social experience in elementary school. But I did get, I got, I wouldn't say bullied. I don't know. I got kind of picked on from some older kids on the bus, and they would always make fun of my teeth. They would call me Angry Beaver, which in retrospect is pretty funny. Angry Beaver, but it really bothered me when I was a kid, and I remember coming home telling my parents about it, and they laughed, and I was like, "What the hell, Mom? Um, that's not cool. I hate this. I'm getting picked on." My parents are laughing about it, because ultimately it wasn't a big deal. They weren't hitting me or anything, but it was really annoying, and I did not like it. And they did it every day, these older kids, and unfortunately, the end to this story, it's probably not going to happen for most people getting bullied. I don't really know how to help you there, but basically what happened was these kids kept picking on me, and the gang leader, if you will, was like this redhead kid with freckles, and I hated this kid. And one day my mom's like, "Oh, we're having like a family get together with all the extended family that like you've never met or anything, and you guys might be able to tell where this is going." We had this thing where a bunch of our family members came to our house, family members from my mom's side of the family that I had never met. And anyway, the gang leader of this group of bullies is a strong word. He's not a bully. I'm not accusing him of being a bully. The guy that was picking on me, the gang leader, he shows up to my house. It turns out like we're like pretty distant cousins, and I'm just in the living room playing video games. And he comes into my house, and he's super surprised to see me, and I'm super surprised to see him as well. And we just looked at each other, and he immediately was just super cool, probably because family's around, and he doesn't want to you can't bully people in front of your family members. You get your ass beat. But anyway, so he was cool to me at my house. And then the next day on the bus, the other kids started picking on me again. And the gang leader, when it got to his bus stop and he got on, he was like, "Hey, we can't make fun of this kid anymore because he's my cousin." So I stopped getting picked on after that. So if you're getting picked on, if you're in elementary school, or maybe you're in middle school, just be related to your bully. And if you're related to the bully, he'll probably stop picking on you. Yes, all right. Probably not going to work for most of you guys. Another thing about this DBDR guy, he uses a lot of black pill terminology. Now, this is a whole rabbit hole you can go down. If you don't know what the black pill is, it's basically just thinking that the entire world sucks. And obviously, maybe you don't know, red and blue pill, the red pill, blue pill, it comes from the movie The Matrix, taking the red pills, like waking up to reality, or taking the blue pills, like continuing to live in your dream world. There's a whole new pill out there now, the black pill, in which they think is the absolute truth. Everything's based on your genetics, the way you're treated, and so if you have bad genetics, you're just destined to just be fucked, basically. And that's not a very good outlook to have. I don't share that outlook at all. But in his videos, DBDR will use terms like cell and max. So, like guys that work out, he'll say they're gym maxed. All those guys are gym maxing. Or guys that like to be goofballs in front of a bunch of people, class clowns, he calls that jester maxing, which is actually pretty funny. This guy's got some charisma. But yeah, it's super interesting. I would say, I guess, what would you call me? Like a music cell? I don't even know. I don't even know what he would call me. But yeah, basically, this DBDR guy, he just talks about his life, and it sounds like he's got a pretty bad life. He's got a pretty bad attitude, and he just makes a bunch of videos talking about all this kind of stuff, and how much he hates his life and how it's not going to get any better. And it's actually, he's built quite a community. He's got like over 35,000 subscribers, and every video has like a lot of comments. So clearly, there's a lot of people that relate to this guy. Basically, the problem with this type of mentality that he's like spewing or preaching, whatever you want to call it, is that it takes away any like personal responsibility. Like this kid doesn't think he's responsible for any of the bad things that happen in his life, and that's the absolute worst. That's the worst outlook you can have. Like if you don't take any responsibility, then your life's never going to get any better, obviously, and so you'll just live in this constant cycle of your life sucking, and then you blaming it on various other things, whether it be other people, your genetics, your looks, blah blah blah. Constant cycle of your life just, oh, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, it's not getting any better, and not doing anything about it, not taking any personal responsibility, just choosing to do the same thing over and over again. One thing that this kid has to do, everybody has to do, you just have to be decisive. At some point you have to make a decision that's going to be hard. I mean, I went to college in Seattle, and there's so many people that are just caught in this loop of like blaming everybody else for their problems, or blaming their problems on something. Oh, I'm depressed or whatever. I mean, that's probably a bad example because mental health is real. Yeah, I get it. But yeah, at some point you have to make a decision that is going to better your life. And everybody knows that there's a decision like that you can make. There are things, even if you got like the most useless degree ever and you can't get a good job with it, there are things you can do, like become a bartender. I know plenty of bartenders that, make good money. And especially in a big city like Seattle, there's ways to get a leg up like that. You could become a bartender. One of the things I had to do, I got a music degree and I wanted to do this, but I started working on cruise ships, and that's a huge change because I had to leave everything, everything from my Seattle life behind, if you will. I had to fly out and go work on a cruise ship for 6 months. But the thing about when you make big decisions like that is you start to, one, save money. If you can start saving money, putting money in your pocket, your life just gets a lot better because you have that safety net. You have a little bit of comfort. You're not wondering, oh shoot, what's going to happen next? I can't pay this bill. I can't pay this bill. Not worried about any of that if you stack some money away. And I think deep down everybody knows that there is something they can do to make their life better. And if you don't accept that, if you don't realize, oh, there is something I can do to make my life better, you could have the worst situation possible. Worst situation known to man. There's something you can do to improve your life. And if you don't realize that, you could end up like this guy DBDR pretty easy. Just constant cycle of failure, blaming everything but yourself for your problems. So anyway, that's my take on DBDR. It's kind of a long rant. I had a few topics I wanted to hit. But yeah, that's pretty much it.